What's up guys, Connor here and welcome back to Star Wars Central with gameplay of the new Heroes vs Villains game mode in Battlefront 2. The new mode is a lot of fun to play and is a big improvement over the previous game. This is mostly because of a bunch of changes the developers have made to how the mode fundamentally works, and of course the balance and abilities of the individual heroes. So today, I'm going to show you guys Heroes vs Villains gameplay from the full version of Battlefront 2, and on top of this, I'm going to break down how this new version of the classic Heroes vs Villains game mode actually works. Really quick though, before we begin, the gameplay that you're seeing in the background of this video was recorded when EA invited me out to visit DICE Stockholm in Sweden, one of the development studios, to play the full version of Battlefront 2 last week. I definitely had a lot of fun playing it, and the Heroes vs Villains mode was by far my favourite part of the game, and that is why I decided to cover it today. Anyway, let's get started. Heroes vs Villains is an 8-player mode, 4 heroes versus 4 villains. You can select any light side or dark side hero depending on your team, but you cannot have more than one specific hero per team. For example, if someone on your team picks Kylo Ren first, you cannot then go and also pick Kylo Ren. There is absolutely no hero or villain stacking in Battlefront 2. This can be a bit frustrating at times, but it does encourage you to try new heroes and become better with more unconventional heroes like Iden and Lando, which when you compare them to Vader or Yoda may seem weak on the surface, but actually still both deal a ton of damage and are definitely worth your time. The heroes themselves are separated into 2 distinct categories: lightsaber heroes and ranged heroes. Lightsaber heroes have high mobility but are limited mostly to close range attacks, whereas ranged heroes on the other hand are usually a bit slower, a bit weaker, and normally have blasters, or in Palpatine's case, force lightning. This does allow them to deal more damage at range, but it's at the expense of being massively underpowered in close quarters combat. Anyway, those are the types of heroes you can currently choose from, but a better question is, how does this new Heroes vs Villains game mode actually work? Well, when the round starts, each team will have a target selected. If you kill the enemy target, your team wins the round. However, if your friendly target, which you have to defend, is killed first, then the enemy team wins the round. The first team to kill 10 targets wins the game. It seems relatively simple, but actually there are a lot of tactics to take into account. Teamwork is vital to winning this mode. You cannot go out alone and expect to take on 3 or 4 enemy heroes and still win. The odds are always stacked against you, and only a good strategy and team play will win the game. The reason I say this is because non-targets can respawn. This means each round doesn't have an end. There is no loading screen or reselection of heroes screen. You simply respawn, and then you get to choose a new hero when you die. As long as the target survives, you can still spawn back and defend your target. Of course, even if the target dies, you can still respawn. There isn't any pause or stop in the game mode, it's actually very free-flowing. At first I thought that this was perhaps a bad move, especially for a mode like Heroes vs Villains where people are going to be getting very competitive. But after playing it, I've got to admit, I do understand why they've done this. Being able to respawn, change your hero, and adapt to the enemy play is far more enjoyable than just being killed and then having to sit in a lobby screen or a spectator mode. The only alternative I can think of is what the previous game, Battlefront 2015, did with the Heroes vs Villains mode, which instead forced you to spawn back as infantry. Of course, the problem with this method is that it's just not fun to fight as a normal stormtrooper against a hero like Luke Skywalker. It's annoying for the hero because it ruins any Heroes vs Villains combat they may be having, and it's just horrible for the trooper because they get killed so easily. That's why I think Battlefront 2's new method is far better. Being able to respawn makes the gameplay experience a lot smoother and just lets you focus on having fun. So now you understand how the Heroes vs Villains mode actually works. I personally thought that it was one of the strongest game modes in Battlefront 2. I know that for most people the choice is going to be between Heroes vs Villains and Galactic Assault, and rightly so. Galactic Assault has so much going for it for a 40-player mode. What with 11 separate maps across all 3 eras, you really couldn't ask for much more. I think it's definitely going to be the bread and butter of Battlefront 2 probably for many years to come. But Heroes vs Villains has this unique feel to it, this casual and yet also competitive at times aspect that just makes it fantastic fun to play. The only real advice I have for you guys this early in is that make sure you're playing Heroes vs Villains with friends. When you can get real teamwork and actual strategy going inside the mode, it becomes insanely rewarding. And that's because this is a mode that is balanced enough with enough hero variety that you really can just keep playing it over and over again and still have fun. So make sure you grab a few friends, get in Heroes vs Villains, and play as much as possible. This game mode is great, and I strongly advise it be the first mode you guys try when you get your hands on Battlefront 2. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I'll be back later with more videos on Battlefront 2, so if you want to see more hero gameplay, vehicles, or Clone Wars content, then go ahead and subscribe and leave a comment down below telling me what you want to see next. Thank you guys so much for your support, it really does mean a lot to me. I'll see you guys next time, and may the Force be with you.
You've already lost. Opponent armed. Now it ends. Won't go any farther. Predicted. Close and surround. Target recognized. Target identified. Leader Stalk commands. Submit to me. Underestimated. Target located. I've done nothing. Won't be getting paid for that job. No target located. Go, go! Salute to boss. Target spotted.